So first I want to say congratulations to Michael B. Jordan for winning the Oscar for Sinners. You know, I still haven't seen the movie, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because I don't have time. If it's not to do with the campaign, then it's spending time with my kids. Like I'm very different from anybody else who's running for office in that I actually enjoy spending time with my family, and I don't have just streams of money coming in. So I used to have my own business helping veterans get VA benefits when they've been denied. I myself have 100% disability from the VA, and that business helped sustain for a good long time because I used to be a government contractor. But I make it by with mostly just my VA disability. And so this is my full-time job. Running for office is my full-time job because people like me who actually spend time with their families or actually trying to do something in their communities don't have the money or the resources to run for office or anything like that. Like it's not meant for that. So this is incredibly difficult, but I find it very valuable because I think that that's sort of the whole point of this, is bringing awareness to that, the fact that it's completely impossible for the average person to run for office. And at the same time, if young people run for office, they typically either won't have kids, or the people that run for office are older and in a position where they don't have to worry about, you know, it's not just about support. My parents weren't around growing up because my great-grandparents lived in our house, and so my mom had to work, my dad had to work, and my great-grandparents acted as like my, you know, sort of pseudo-parents for a while, but they were very, very old. And so it was symbiotic. I helped take care of them, they helped take care of me, and at some point, my mom had to take care of them full-time, and it took away from work. And so if I'm being 100% honest, I wasn't necessarily the priority in my family because I was sort of, you know, self-sustaining. Like I entertained myself, I took care of myself. It was easy. And so because of that, that's what happens. You get left behind, you get forgotten. So that's a whole nother story, but I wanted to take the time to just express why I'm running for office, why I'm doing things differently, and also just say, you know, congratulations to Michael B. Jordan, because in Creed 2, you can barely see it, but I was actually a background actor in Creed 2, and that was the second anything I had ever worked on. The first thing I'd ever worked on was a film called Rampage, starring Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and it was an amazing experience, but I'll tell that story another time. Right now, I really just want to give Michael B. his flowers, because I mean, first let me say, the run-in leading into this, everybody that's dogpiling on Timothée Chalamet, just stop, man. Kid's young, dude. Leave him alone. Everybody has an opinion to something, so what? That's all I'm going to say on that. I hate people on the internet dogpiling onto people or making content using their name. And I hate it. I actually have issues with a lot of, you know, I'm going to end up making a video at some point, but I've tried reaching out to certain, like, you know, quote, progressive media to help with my campaign, like the Young Turks. And I've literally been met back with, like, it's a pay-to-play system, that you got to get him. And I'm like, this is crazy. So basically, they're full of shit, and that's unfortunate. But I will make a full video on that. But what I wanted to instead talk about was something positive and talk about my time working on the set of Creed 2. So that was an amazing, amazing experience. I got to meet Sylvester Stallone. I was a huge fan of, like, Rocky and fucking First Blood, Rambo, like, as a kid. Like, Sylvester Stallone is one of those icons, man, American icon. And that's probably the only person I've ever been truly starstruck. As he walked, and so, to give you background, I was playing a Russian VIP at the final fight in Creed 2, where Creed and Ivan Drago's son are fighting. And I got to see the whole thing, including the alternate endings, because they film stuff to, like, throw people off the ending and stuff. And it's amazing. When we came in, they took everybody's phones away, and you come in and they've got you in this giant room that's just, it's the boxing ring. And when we came in, funny enough, I wasn't there on the first day. So because I wasn't there on the first day, everybody gets their spots and everybody gets selection. When I came in, I'm different. So the first thing that I tried to do was I looked at empty seats. And I looked and asked somebody, hey, there's an empty seat first row right there behind Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone in their corner in the boxing ring. And I asked somebody, I was like, is anybody here? And somebody said, oh, there was a dude here yesterday, but he's not here today. Boom. I just stood in that spot and they said, hey, were you told to stay here? I said, yeah. When somebody came by, somebody asked me, hey, were you here yesterday? And I told the guy, some guy with a microphone, with a radio, and one of the PAs just came by and told me to stand here. He said, okay, and went about his business. So next thing you know, I'm right behind Michael B. Jordan. I'll have to put like a still frame of it because you can't really catch me in the movie. But there's a specific reason. I decided that because I was Russian, I wanted to put my hair and leave it curly. Instead of putting my hair like this, I left my hair really curly. And because of that, it was a very unique look that they couldn't. I wasn't there I think it was 4 days of shooting. I was only there 3 out of the 4. So there was one day in between because I was actually working. I was actually working in DC. I was a government contractor. I was working at the Underground Facilities Analysis Center, the UFAC, for DIA. And it's really strange. So I'm there. First, I'll just say the first day we came in, on set, we had what do you call the guy, Ivan Drago. So you've got fucking Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone. You've got, oddly enough, the woman that played Sylvester Stallone, Ivan Drago's wife, was once Sylvester Stallone's wife, and also the dog's outside. He's distracted me. Titan, get down. There he is. Go, sit in your chair. Sit. You sit. Go. Sit. Okay. Anyway, I'll cut to the chase. When Sylvester Stallone came out, this is the only time I've ever been starstruck. He came out, he was shaking everybody in the row's hand, and he's walking by. I literally said hello to every single background actor. Like at some point, like he didn't make it in just one shot, but he made it his business to try to talk to every single background person. So as he came by, he shook my hand. I noticed he was a little shorter than I am. It was crazy. I didn't expect that. And he's just walking by, he shook his hand, and I wanted to say something, and all I went was, and he just went and kept going. And I was like, oh shit, there it is. I got starstruck. Only time. I'll say anything to anybody. I was like, oh fuck, I missed my chance. But anyway, a couple minutes later, we taking a break in between one of the scenes or whatever, and they were doing the intro scene. So like Tessa Thompson has this music playing. She was also on set. She's got a song for the album. The music will play. The lights will go out. The lights will come up, and then boom, everybody would like the lights would go dark, and the flashing would happen, and then they would enter. Drago would enter, Cruz would enter, and they do the entrances, right? While this is happening, they're using the audio. They're actually using the audio system. Like the director himself is playing the audio on the speakers. It's pretty dope. Like they're actually going to do this in post, but just so everybody here is understanding what's happening, they're playing it on a little speaker. So now we're taking a break, and I don't know if it was for lunch or whatever have you, but we were taking a break, and during the break, Mike says, hey, you know what? I'm gonna play some music, right? So he goes to put on his phone. He goes to plug it in. And when he puts the the auxiliary cord or whatever, I guess he had music playing already on his phone. Now here's what's great: the music was the English soundtrack of the Dragon Ball Z soundtrack. So it's like Bruce Faulkner, if you know anything about. I'm a super huge nerd. I'm an anime nerd. So he's listening to the English soundtrack of the Super Saiyan 3 in Dragon Ball Z Transformation. This just starts playing on the speaker for like 2 seconds, right? Pulls it out real quick. He feels his inner nerd. And I said, boom. I said, yo, was that Super Saiyan 3? This dude turns to me and goes, damn, you know your shit. And I was like, yeah, bro, I'm a nerd. He's like, so y'all, I mean, I'm just gonna play my music. Is that cool? I was like, put that shit back on. So he ended up putting on some other shit, and it was dope. But like, it was cool that we sort of had that interaction. He was like, yo, look at this guy. This guy's like, yeah, how the fuck did you know that? It was really, really dope. Bottom line, my experience on the set, that was amazing. I actually got to watch, as we were filming, right, Sylvester Stallone gets a phone call. It's on a laptop, and he's actually watching reference shots. He's looking at Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and just looking at different fights and trying to choreograph the fight scenes to mimic these older fights and to have that. While he's doing this, his brother calls, and so if anybody knows anything about Frank Stallone, interesting, Google him. So Frank Stallone calls him, he pulls him on FaceTime, and Sylvester Stallone is geeking out on the phone with his brother Frank. geeking out over the film and showing him the laptop, showing him the scene and showing him what we're doing. And this guy's just talking to his brother, and it's the coolest thing. He turns the camera to the crowd, everybody goes crazy. And it was just really dope that I was in the room. If you think about this, Creed 2 is the second in the Creed trilogy, but in terms of the Rocky franchise, it's probably, so if you see Rocky Balboa is Rocky 6, so Creed is Rocky 7, so this would be Rocky 8? So if you think about that, we're sitting there filming Rocky while watching Rocky with Rocky. So he's watching Rocky 3 while we're filming Rocky 8, and I'm sitting right behind Rocky, watching Rocky, watch Rocky 3, filming Rocky 8. Fucking crazy, man. Absolute insanity. It's really dope. It's a really dope experience. I love that set. We were in Philly. I had just done the electric run, and the electric run in Philly ends. Well, actually, I did it a little before, but the electric run ended at the steps, leading up to, where Rocky goes up and does the whole thing, and they have the statue behind it. So the run had and it's pretty cool that I think Sylvester Stallone said they could keep it. So I think it's there permanently. So we've got the Rocky statue. It used to be up on the thing, but now it's actually back in the garden. But it's still there. So if you go up to the steps and you run up in Philly, it's behind. It's not too far right behind it. But amazing experience. And I just wanted to share that because I'm really glad that Michael B. Jordan, got his flowers, and I'm sure that Timothée Chalamet will eventually get his as well. I think it's unfair for people to criticize people for their opinions. He had his opinion. Even if you don't agree with it, that's his opinion. But I definitely believe Michael B. Jordan deserved it regardless. I think that, if you look at the work that he's done with Ryan Coogler, man, Fruitvale Station, Black Panther, now Sinners, I need to see that this weekend, man. I really do. That movie looks fucking awesome. It's incredible. Anyway, I'm going to get to that. I'm actually going to make it a point that I'm going to watch Sinners this weekend just for that. But yeah, that's my Creed 2 story and my Michael B. Jordan story. You know what? I actually have something to add to that. Because almost immediately after that, when I told some friends that I was in the movie and this, that, and everything, I went out to dinner in D.C. with someone I used to work with. Where did I work with? The Cyber Threat Analysis Center? I think so. And when we got there, she brought a friend, and her friend was having she looked really, really uncomfortable, and I didn't know why. And I was like, "Hey, what's up with your friend?" And she's like, "Oh no, she knows that you were in the movie with Mike." And I was like, "With Creed?" And she's like, "Yeah, she went to high school with Michael B. Jordan." I was like, "No way." So I was like, "Yo, so what's up? How you feeling?" She's like, "I'm devastated." This girl was crying, losing her shit because she treated him like shit. Because I guess she was mean to him or whatever, called him, I don't know if she called him corny or a nerd or some shit, but guy's obviously a geek, so she didn't appreciate that, and then, now she appreciates it. So she was feeling a little hurt about it, and it was really, really, it was an amazing experience. But I gotta say, everybody in the cast was amazing. Tessa Thompson, Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone, fucking Dolph Lundgren, man. Everything was amazing. Everything. I had a really great time. That was just a wonderful experience. So if you get a chance, you can see me for a split second. I'm a little blurry, but my hair is curly. I've got this long jacket. I'll put a still, but it's not even the point. The point is, it was an amazing experience, and I'm so glad that these guys are getting the recognition that they deserve for the work that they've done. That being said, I really love the work. I love the idea behind Sinners. It's not just the movie, but what Ryan Coogler was able to do with production and how he was able to secure rights for his film and everything. That to me is inspirational, and it's sort of what I'm looking to do. I'm doing something different in politics, and I think a lot of people I hate politics. I hate it. I like people. I like talking to people, and I like making a difference. Unfortunately, we live in an attention economy, and in order to do that, you have to constantly be doing ridiculous shit, and I don't really have time for that. So instead of me just constantly out here making content, I'm trying to put context to certain things. And so instead, I've been focusing on two things. One, releasing a documentary so people can understand the journey that I've been on. So what personally brought me to running for office, and what are my personal motivations, where I came from, what I intend to do. And then at the same time, a film version of that is more entertaining. because I understand that that's necessary. So I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was going. I wanted to be a writer, director. So I instead took that and sort of made a love letter to film and sort of did these things. When I was growing up in high school, Fast and the Furious came out, but me and my friends were in Miami actually like living that car culture and doing different things. So I wanted to sort of like show that in a way that was dynamic and fun, that gives you an introduction. And the best way I could describe it is like taking 8 Mile, Forrest Gump, and The Godfather and smashing them together. Because it's not just about my life. It's about what brought me to where I am. And that starts with my great-grandfather. And it starts as early as, my great-grandmother was born in 1901. My great-grandfather was born in 1904. And so the story starts somewhere around the mid-1920s when Puerto Ricans first became American citizens. The story is sort of a bookend of the beginning and current situation of Puerto Rican American culture, I guess. I mean, I guess it's more of like the history of Puerto Ricans as Americans in a way. It's a way of showing this country in a way that highlights immigration from a certain perspective, and also the American dream mostly, especially because I'm in the process of writing a book, The New American Dream, Project Revolution, and talking about how we can fight back, the things that we can do, because politics isn't going to save us, people. Like, the system itself is so corrupt that we have to change it. Just putting a new heart in a place that's like, if the system's already corrupt and you put in someone new, that person is either going to get corrupted or be pushed out. The system itself needs to change. And that's a very difficult process. So I want to make sure that I'm telling people, like, this isn't just most politicians will tell you they're going to save you. I do believe that the only way out of this situation is with an executive who can put the brakes in the right places, somebody who has the balls to do what they need to do, somebody that has the guts, I should say, to do what is necessary. And that being said, I think that we have a lot of work to do, and it's hard, and it's not easy because people it's all about money, and I think that's some of the issue is that people don't help people anymore. We don't even talk to each other the same way we talk at each other. I mean, look at music. What happened to R&B? R&B used to be about someone singing to the person that they love. Now, we have music where people are talking about, they're not talking directly to the person. You don't have, men talking directly to women anymore. You have men talking to their homeboys about their girl. What happened to rock music? Like, what happened to rebellion? Now, even hip-hop is commercial. Like, this is supposed to be fuck the system music. Punk rock, like, what happened to fighting the power? Shit's all commercial. Like Nas says, reminiscent when it wasn't all business. Like, that's everything has become a commodity. Like, even YouTube. People on YouTube used to make videos with their friends. Now you'll see one guy playing 16 different roles. He's playing the characters. He, she, they, them, whatever. Editing, filming, like everything. For what? For some director in Hollywood to tell you, yeah, you have everything you need to make millions of dollars. Shut up. The problem is we have more resources, but nobody gives a shit. Everybody just wants, like, there used to be like this upper class, middle class, and lower class. There's no middle anymore. No matter what you believe, there's no middle. They've bottomed it out. So now there's only the ultra wealthy rich, and there's going to be everybody else. And then you're not in that club. No matter what you think, if you're not a millionaire, even if you were a millionaire, everything's too expensive. So now if you're not a multi-millionaire, you're not in that club. And they want you to be desiring to be in a club they're never going to let you in. So that way everybody else down here fights amongst each other. It's divide and conquer. Crabs in a pot. And I realize that that's a lot of these industries, they're pick-me's. There's the whole concept of being chosen, of doing what is necessary to be noticed. Like what Chalamet did. At first I thought it was admirable, the whole Marty Supreme thing. And then I realized it was like, in the past, studios used to do that marketing for you because they believed in the product. Now this guy's going out there and he was advertising for his thing, and he probably actually made it worse for himself in the long run. In the beginning, it seemed like it was working, and then it wasn't. And I think the overexposure is what did it. And there's too many people that are throwing the word entitlement around, which maybe that's true. I honestly just think that the industries are pushing people to do these things. And then when it gets there, people want to dogpile on it. I absolutely hate that everybody's making all these videos talking smack about anybody, dude. Like, since when is trying to do something bad? I'm trying to help my community. I get shit all the time for, why don't I just sit down? Why does it gotta be me? Like, I agree. Why me? It should be somebody else. I'm doing this because the assholes that should be doing it ain't doing it. Period. So that's my whole shtick. And I know this went from a Michael B. Jordan to a political thing, and I really hate it. Everything lit now is political, and I fucking hate it. What happened to joy? What happened to fun? What happened to love? We don't love the things we do. Like, not just love in a romantic sense. We don't love the things we do anymore. I don't love this. I hate having to do these things that are unnecessary. I wish I could do what I love. I love helping people. Me making a video and going, this isn't helping anybody. But I have to do it in order to get seen. Going back to the Young Turks thing, a guy who just won, Richard Ojeda, he's a major retired who just won his primary in North Carolina. He's a contributor on the Young Turks. I've been talking to him for months. He said, oh, Cenk Uyghur's a friend of mine. I said, cool, man. Can you? I need an interview that would actually help my platform, with the campaign and whatnot. It would help a lot. He said, well, I got you. He sent me his campaign manager and a consultant. And then that guy told me, hey, if you pay for my thing, you get a Rolodex, and in that Rolodex, the numbers for the folks, the Young Turks, are in it. I said, so it's pay to play. He's like, well, no. It is. It is. And so I have no desire to do that. If I have to pay you, you're a media organization and you're averse to the news, yeah, that's historically not great. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And we're going to keep making some major moves. Now, going forward, we're also going to be doing some other things. I am now moving into full-time streaming. Every night, 8 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a stream. On the weekends, it'll be a game stream. And we'll get into more details there, but that's the gist of it. It's time to really, I'm also calling up every candidate in the state of Florida, every candidate that's running, and asking them about their events and saying, hey, I'd like to be at your event, I'd like to do this, and we're just start co-oping. So that way we could just get some exposure and then just meet some folks in the middle. Because I've had folks tell me, why do you use your government money? I don't have any. I spend most of my time going out to protests, going to people, going to events, talking to people, helping people specifically. I don't spend my time sitting here online asking for money or making constant videos asking for money or worrying about ads on TV. I think all of that is the problem. I think the whole pay-to-play problem, the whole pay-to-play system is the problem because they've got it under lock. TikTok, I'm not even going to say specifically TikTok. All social media is managed by the corporations that we're trying to fight. How are we using their platforms? We're not going to win if we're on their platforms. We need to meet in person. We need to organize in person. We need to be different. We need to do things differently. That's all. What that looks like, I'm not sure, but we need to figure it out. But the difference is I'm open to it. Most people are trying to just check the block and do what's been done before. You know what that's going to end up with? What we already got. Our politicians suck. All of them suck. All of them. And it's not about what they say. It's about what they do. They might say one thing now, but what is their voting record? That's why I believe it's very difficult because we need new blood. Because I personally believe everybody up there is already compromised. The Epstein list will prove that. But again, I'm not going to get into that too much. Again, this needed to be about something else. But it always is going to go in a different direction because everything's political now. So I'll be live streaming every night at 8 p.m. and on Saturdays at 8. I'll be doing some gaming streams. I'm actually going to play, if you've never played Metal Gear Solid, I think it's highly appropriate for what's going on right now. Right now, we're facing an AI crisis. AI is going to destroy every job, every industry, and we have no regulations for it. They want to give military full control of this. Like, and nobody watched the Terminator, man? Or like fucking Age of Ultron? Like, this is not new stuff. But we have incompetence on a level unseen before. It's not, don't be afraid of these people in the sense that they're doing machinations, that they're plotting and scheming. No, be afraid of their incompetence and stupidity. Because they think that they know what they're talking about. They have no idea. We are getting involved in foreign wars and all kinds of issues domestically that we shouldn't be facing because ignorance and stupidity. And so we can do better. I 100% know we can do better. Because I know 10 guys that are probably the worst people that I ever met in the entire army, and they would probably still be better than this president. That's crazy, but it's true. Now, that being said, I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. I deployed to Iraq, deployed to Kosovo. I spent 17 years in the U.S. Army. I worked for the Department of Defense. I worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency. I worked at the Pentagon. I worked special operations. My dog. My name is Paul Cruz, U.S. Army combat veteran running for U.S. Senate here in Florida. In addition to that, I'm actually running for president in 2028. I genuinely believe that I have, if I can win this, then we have a good case. I also believe that irrelevant, I've got the skills. I shouldn't have said that irrelevant part. We'll just edit that out. I fucking hate all this shit, man. I really do.